Hello, 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 life movers, life, love, and all of the above is back again. And we're glad to see you. But before we get started, let me say hello to everyone who's in the studio with me today. How y'all doing?
What's up, girl? What's going on, Chantel?
What's up? What's up?
All
What's
right.
up?
I know. I heard that some people have been to the dinner club and all. So I want to, I shaking it up or listening to music or whatever. Who did that?
Me.
Well, partying without me.
Hold up. Let me tell you something. I'm so old school. I'm old. You know what I'm saying? So I went to go see Howard Hewitt last night.
Yeah.
Yes. And he hit my song. Oh my gosh, it was such a good show. He put on such a good show. Yes, he did. I was screaming and hollering and just getting up, dancing in my seat. It was just such a good show.
That's why you got that glow on your face today, girl.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna call myself
old.
Glow. I'm not gonna call myself old because
I'm old school.
I went to see Frankie Beverly and Maze, and that was an awesome show as well. It had Genuine and some other people in it. Not last night, but I'm just saying. So I'm not gonna date myself and call myself old like that. I'm just gonna say I prefer some music that may have been around a while.
Genuine still get his pony on?
Yes, I did. I watched him get his pony on.
Some people don't live to see it, so just claim it. You know what I mean?
Okay,
claim it.
I'm claiming it. I'm like fine wine. I'm like fine wine. I get better with time.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. I mean, he hit that. Let's make this a night to remember.
Oh yeah, I love that song.
That's the jam right there.
Yeah, that was.
Yes, that was.
I remember that. Okay.
Yes.
Well, for those of you who are here tonight, we have another great show in store for you. We are going to be talking about burnout tonight. And I'm so excited because we have a great person here today. Her name is Dr. Kimberly Wilson. She is a motivational speaker and executive coach. She's also known as Dr. Burnout. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist. So can we bring her to the studio right now so we can welcome her? Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me here.
Welcome.
Abel, Passion, and Chantel.
Yes, good to see you. Good to see you. Well, as you know, we want you to share all your expertise with us. And I want you to start out, though. I just gave you, that's nothing with all the credentials that you have. So I want you to tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I was born in a log cabin. No, I'm kidding. I was thinking about that old movie, The Jerk. So I one of the things I think is a defining part about me is I'm a retired Marine, and so what I tend to do is so you know how there's so many women nowadays who are overworked, overwhelmed, and just fried. They feel like they have nothing else to give.
Yes.
So what I do is that I help them to be able to regain their time, regain their energy, and make sure that their bottom line stays the same, because so many of them feel like it won't. And just so that they can begin to enjoy and love life. And so I gather so many lessons, not only from my work in nonprofits, corporate America, the military, but and hundreds of clients and myself as well, from burning out at least three or four times. So I bring all these things together to be able to support them in their corporate roles or as an entrepreneur. I've been on Bloomberg, ABC, I think CBS, and a couple of other things. So I hope to learn today and give some value.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you. I think you kind of told me a little bit about um, what made you decide to focus on this, but I want to know if you could go in some more detail to what made you focus on women and burnout. So,
Okay.
can you go into a little more detail with that?
Absolutely. So, the mission for our company is that we want to cure 5,500 women of burnout and have 100 healthy workplace cultures. And the reason that this began is my grandmother died when she was 55. So I have outlived my grandmother at this point. And one of the key factors in that was burnout and giving so much to others that she had nothing left for her. And so she ended up needing a double mastectomy because she never had time to see about herself, to take care. You know, we keep hearing so much about self-care, and that's really encapsulates it. You're so busy pleasing other people that your own health falters. And I don't want anybody else to have to experience that.
Well, and that's a hard thing. I mean, as women, we ideally are always thinking of being caretakers. We're always trying to help the neighbor, help someone. It's like we wear so many hats all the time. Now, I do know that when you talk about burnout, not only for women, it also could be for men as well. So, does your company also envision helping men?
Well, when we do corporate trainings and coaching, we do work with men, but the general focus is on women, because that's the ones who I feel like I have a special affinity to support and help. So we do, but the primary focus is women.
And that's good. I mean, we all have a gift to help certain populations. So
we get burnt out too. Trust and believe. We get burnt out, baby.
Absolutely.
And we need help too. So we need to get this balance going on.
Absolutely. And that's why I love when I actually get to go into the workplace, because I do get to serve them. Like, I'm getting ready to work with the a.k.a. Police Department, which is predominantly male.
Yes, that's going to be awesome.
One or two females in there, but it's a male dominated organization. So yes, absolutely.
Right. And I do, recognize that, in just across the globe, that women are making impactful movements because their voices have been minimized and shrunk and things of that nature, and they haven't been tended to in a lot of these areas. So it's awesome that women like yourself recognize that and acknowledge them and tend to the needs of women that have been neglected.
Right. And it's we tend to want to give from the cup rather than the saucer. So we give deep, and then we don't have anything else to replenish. Our cup is empty. When if we had given from the saucer, that's from the overflow. That's from the abundance, rather than what's in our core.
Right.
So, burnout. Tell me, how does it impact relationships at work and home?
Yeah, that is so many different things. So when you're actually into burnout, and people often confuse that, it gets tossed around like it's very common, and actually burnout is sometimes at the end of stress. So and so I got to back up just a little bit. So stress is typically a short-term situation that is usually resolved. you feel distressed about it, you might be worried about it, but there's an end to it. Say, for example, you're preparing for a test or you have a project. That's a short-term stressful situation. When you're talking about burnout, that is long-term. It's chronic depletion, the chronic hopelessness, and just a feeling like you are no longer productive in your role. And when we talk about relationships at work, sometimes we become more irritable. We feel less vested. We get lackadaisical. We don't even care. We just do it. It's like, okay, whatever. I've just done the thing. And we tend to isolate more. So we don't have the capacity to actually draw upon all the resources and the relationships within the company to be able to move forward. We're just in this pit of despair. And if you don't watch it, that can actually turn out to extreme anxiety and depression. When we're talking about relationships at home, we've all seen it because I've done it many times. Instead of coming home and being with your family, you're home and you're with your computer because you're returning emails. You're irritable. Some partners avoid sex, and the thing, they wear those pajamas that their partner can't get into, so that they don't have to address sex. They're argumentative. But still, you think with all of this, they say, okay, when I get home, I just need to de-stress and be able to reconnect. No, what happens is they tend to do even more. And then they're doing stuff for Mama and them and Peanut, and they're helping out with this.
I get it. So I want to ask you, does being burnt out, can that lead to like brain fog where you start to forget things and just your memory is just overall shot, like your cognitive abilities?
Absolutely, because I can't tell you how many times in the past when I was burnt out and I'm looking for glasses and I'm wearing them.
Oh, yes.
or walking around with keys in my hand, like I need to go. Where are my keys?
Right, and they in your hand, right? And you be like, oh my gosh, yes. Okay. Whew. All right. That explains a lot. So is how does somebody know when they're burnt out versus just being stressed out? And you may have already said that, and I just didn't.
No, that's a really good question. So, yes. Like I said, stress tends to be short term. It's typically focused around some type of goal or some type of situation, like, oh, my home is getting remodeled. Oh, I need to complete my dissertation. Oh, we need to get ready to get dressed to go to cheerleading practice. Those are stressful moments. They're intense. They're short lived. Maybe a couple of weeks. But this burnout, this is persistent. This is chronic. This is like your foot is on the gas, and there's people that have been in burnout for years. And what we tend to forget is this can actually lead to death.
Burnout?
Yeah, yes. It actually lead to death because it has so much impact on all of our bodily symptoms like headaches, gastrointestinal problems, racing heart rate, type 2 diabetes, infection, infertility, poor quality of sleep, prolonged recovery from illness, and vulnerability to other illnesses.
Now, see, until today, I actually thought stress and burnout were one and the same because of this, because we all know that stress can affect your health like that as well. Yes. So you would kind of confuse the two almost, because you could be actually burnt out, but think it's stress.
Right. Well, stress is the silent killer. So what happens is when stress is prolonged, it turns into burnout. That's what she was saying when she said it's short term. Because that's what I tell people all the time. If you keep untreating stress, it becomes that silent killer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And when you think about just not having time enough, and when you talk about women or men who are in burnout and they're just going through the motions and they're doing more and just feel like it has no impact in burnout, and they're just going through the motions.
What's happening?
Nothing.
No, I was talking when I wasn't talking.
Oh, okay, it was going after you. I was like, what in the world? Okay,
I was like, who is that?
You know, technology. It's okay.
Technology. I'm like, okay, I got a little singing group going on here.
Okay. Well, you know, what when you talk about that and how you talked about your grandmother, what I realized too is that many overachievers, they also have trouble setting boundaries, and that's so ironic. So they have trouble setting boundaries. They tend to just do everything, and then even when they're doing everything and more than normal people are doing, they say, I'm not doing it, I'm not doing well. And so I want to know, I'm real interested to know the connection between burnout and boundaries and the imposter syndrome.
Oh, wait, can I ask before you? Well, no, go ahead.
Go ahead. Let me get it all in my head first.
No, you know what? I'm about to put the cart before the horse, and if I just sit here and listen, you'll probably answer my question anyway. So go ahead.
Okay, all right. So let me just repeat the question to make sure I heard it right. I believe that you said the connection between burnout, boundaries, and imposter syndrome.
Right. You know, because we always say, I didn't do good, I'm not, and other people are looking like, this is fabulous. Oh, but it could have been better. I didn't do my best, you know, and other people are looking like, girl, you run around all the time with your head chopped off. What are you talking about? You're not doing enough. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to know, how does that gel together with your inability to say no, set boundaries, and also believe that you are not who you really are?
Right. So let's kind of, because it's such a there's such interesting ingredients, because when you mix them all together, they make this like fugly looking cake. It's a hot mess. Let's kind of start with imposter syndrome, which, for those of you who aren't aware of it, essentially it's the belief that you're an imposter, or you don't have the abilities that you've obtained and you've earned. Because most of the time, the irony of it is those who have imposter syndrome are often those that are highly overqualified for whatever it is that they attempt to do. They have the certificates, they have the degrees, they have the experience, and still walk around like, I'm not good enough. And if I mess up, people will find out that I really shouldn't be here. And those who are most confident are those with absolutely no credentials whatsoever, no experience. So what happens with the imposter syndrome is you're always seeking this validation, and you're always degrading whatever efforts you do. You have this perfectionist paradox. It needs to be perfect. It needs to be better than perfect. So you get paralyzed in redoing. It's never good enough. It's never, and you tend to do everything last minute because you fear that you're going to do it incorrectly. And so you get this high dose of stress, but it still comes out being beautiful, because you have all this experience, you have the degrees, you have the certificates, so you know what you're doing, but the fear that it's not going to be good enough, it just keeps you delaying that process, if that's making sense. Have you all seen that happen with people with imposter syndrome as well, or experienced that?
Yes, I have. I suffer from it. I now that you've broken it down, I've always I chalked it up to being like a low self-esteem. But now I'm thinking it may have been more of imposter syndrome, where I was afraid to do certain things because I felt like I wasn't qualified, even though I knew I could do it and I was just as good as anybody else. I felt like, well, I didn't go to school. I didn't get the education. I don't have the degrees. I don't have this. I don't have that. So it kind of hindered me from doing my best because I just felt like I wasn't qualified. So for a while, I thought it was like a low self-esteem people that would pour into me would be like, you got this, you're this, you're that, you don't need this, you don't need that. So yeah, that was what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, what exactly is imposter syndrome? So, and you started off and you explained it just like that. See?
Yeah. And it's funny. My son just shared that he experiences that as well, and he doesn't understand how the three of us that we will just go out and do stuff. And it's like, I'm so worried about what other people think. And that can also go into people pleasing as well. So until they're prepared to take that leap on faith. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. And then when we talk about going into boundaries, I think one of the phenomenons that's been so interesting is everybody saying, oh, you need boundaries. You need to get more boundaries. But nobody ever says how to get them or how to formulate them.
Thank you. Come on, tell us how we set boundaries.
So that's one of the things because I noticed that being so prevalent with the clients that I work with, I had to come up with a system to help them create some boundaries and how to make that work. And just to give a little short definition, boundaries is simply like fences, like how far someone can get close to you emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, so many different ways, how close you want them to be. So what I do is I ask them to envision a house, and that them as a person, they're the house. So we have fence people, right? The fence is on the outside. You can see the house, but you don't really know what's going on in the house, but you see it. You might probably see the top of it. So I say fence people, these are the people that you don't have a really good relationship with, that they may know of you, you may know of them, but you don't know enough about them to tell them a lot about you. So those are fence people. That's where you want to put them in. Well, people with poor boundaries, they don't have no fence. They just say, come on in. I'm gonna tell you my deepest, darkest secrets, like on day one. So the next thing that I like them to envision is the yard, because we're still talking about a house. So these people that are in the yard, they can see what's going on. They see how, if you have a lot of toys in the yard, they can see the house. They don't know what's going on inside. So in that way, this might be an acquaintance or a work buddy, somebody that you have some sort of relationship with, but not an intimate relationship. It might be around a specific thing, like you all work on a project or you go to lunch together. So you'll have topical conversations, but still, they probably don't need to know your deepest, darkest secrets.
Exactly.
So then next comes the porch people. So now these people, they can probably peek in through the blinds a little bit. They can see a little bit what's going on. They might see the drapes, right? Exactly. So you may have known them for a while, but maybe it's a casual relationship. Maybe it's a friend of another friend, or maybe it's somebody that you do a work project with a certain amount of times a year, maybe quarterly, and you've built up enough of a camaraderie to where you can talk about some interesting things, maybe hot button topics, but still not intimate topics. Now, when you talk about coming to the house people, these are people that see the dirty dishes, they see your dirty drawers, and they're going to help you clean it up.
That's right. Okay.
They're not going to go blabbing to everybody else. They want you to be engaged. They want to support you and develop you. So you can tell them your intimate secrets. They can tell you, and it's not going to go anywhere. So that's how I kind of have them begin to think about, like, as you think about people in your life, at home and at work, how close do you want people? And then I have them evaluate 9 different areas of what's important, values, and then they can begin to decide, what boundary do I put a person in, if that makes sense. So it tends to be easier for them to remember. Go ahead, Miss Passion.
So let's just say you get those house people inside, right? Because they've earned, or that they built up that loyalty or that trust factor to get to that. And then let's say they breach it. How do you then put the house people back outside?
Right. Like those are the people who violate and get all of our extra attention. It's not the people out there on the outside of the fence. It's the people we let in the house.
That's why I said, how do you get them out? Like, you got to be careful how you now set those back, because they've been there and they're up here close and personal. So now you want to back them back. So how do you do that?
That is such a good question, Passion. And I think it first starts with an internal, don't react, go inside and figure out, like, what is the wound? Why does it hurt? And did they violate your agreement, or did you misassess who they were? Were they really a snake and you tried to think they were a bunny and you let them in too soon?
Come on. Okay, I got you.
So we really need to understand who was at fault, because a snake is going to be a snake. If you let it in the house, it's still going to act like a snake. And it's not going to magically turn into a bunny. Yes, Miss Chantel.
No, I was like, go with that.
Go ahead.
So that's the first part. And then really seeing, like, was this an intentional breach, or was it accidental? And does that mean anything to you? So sometimes someone might violate who you are accidentally, and they didn't mean to do it. They misspoke, and then they wanted to pull it back, but it was too late. But if they have a mean spirit, and they are trying to kill, maim, and destroy you, like, that feels a lot different than an error. And you can tell whether or not they're remorseful and how they approach you. Are they one person in one situation or another? So that's all the internal work before you even decide, like, okay, it's time to move them back. But if you do need to move them back, you can do it one or two ways. So for people pleasers, they don't like confrontation. And so they may choose more methods where they just withdraw. They make themselves no longer available, and they just silently move out of that circle. They silently discontinue engaging with this person. But if you want to be direct and have clear communication, you might just say, hey, this happened. I didn't like that. And for my piece, I need to take some time because I was injured. Now, they might be thinking time means a couple of days or a week, but for you, you may have decided, oh, this is until the end of time.
That's right. You got to go.
Exactly.
You got to go.
But you've got to be, if you're going to make that type of decision, you have to be clear and not falter, because if you keep letting them back in, you're asking for it. They've already shown you who they are.
That's right.
And you're betraying yourself if you don't stick to your guns about that. Not saying that people can't be redeemed, but maybe they were given too much trust too soon.
Right.
Exactly.
Maybe they need to be on the porch or in the yard.
So do you think people that claim to be an open book, you know how you got those people, they don't care, they're going to tell you, they can meet you tonight, and they, like you said, they're going to tell you all their business up front, and then they say, I'm an open book. So do you think that those people that are open books are people pleasers that just don't know how to build boundaries, or they really just don't care who knows about their business, so they just an open book?
I think there's so many different things that type of person could be. It's really difficult to say. I get so much just by being in somebody's presence and what vibe I get off of them and what their intent is. Some people do it because just in the same way that someone who's very obese, they begin to make jokes about them because they want to make the joke. They don't want other people to make the jokes. Correct. So sometimes people are put all this stuff out there. It's like, you can't hurt me anymore.
Right.
Got it.
I put all my business out there. So it's so difficult to tell exactly why anybody is doing anything. I would say that's not depending upon your journey, that can be an emotional bomb, because you're giving so many people the trust of that, or it diffuses situations. I don't choose.
Or it could be, like you said, that snake. I'm an open book, but you're really not telling the truth. You're putting everything out there to appear to be genuine, and you're really
Right.
not, because I have seen that happen as well. They appear
True.
to be very genuine and sweet and all of that, and then you start seeing, oh, well, you left this part of your book out. so,
Yeah.
so-
Or to get you, or they're throwing it out as bait to get
right.
you to share what's going on
Your
with you.
stuff. Right.
That's true.
Because it almost feels like, well, now I've given you this. You need to reciprocate and really be vulnerable and share something with me. No, I don't.
Okay. So I have a question. So do you see, like with men, are men less likely to be people pleasers than women?
In my experience with it, and this doesn't encapsulate all men, but I say in my experience, most of them are not people pleasers. They may have specific people that they are trying to please, but as a species in general, they're more socialized to not to people please and be aggressive and be, the winner on top. So uh, they have less. I'm getting a little tongue tied. They have less socialization to do the people pleasing, but it doesn't exclude them from that. Because, like I
Okay.
said, that's my son.
Mm.
You know, and I don't know how that happened with him, because he has 3 people in the house who just don't give a.
They don't, and they really don't. They really, I don't
So
know
we're
how.
like, you are so tenderhearted and
Oh, he's so sweet. Where did he come from?
I don't know. That's from some other generations back.
Nah, I'm kidding. Kim. Now, Dr. Wilson, Dr. Kim, whatever we want to call her, she does have a soft side, but her son is really mushy. He's
Mm.
really mushy. She's not the mushy type at all. But
Okay.
if she care for you, she's gonna help you. She's gonna be there for you. But that's why I'm like, your son, really? He's all the way like people pleasing. Yeah, so that's why we're laughing about that, because he's in a house where everybody is, let's excel, let's move, let's do it. If somebody say no, don't matter, it doesn't matter. He's in that kind of household. So
Okay.
Like, we don't give a darn what people think.
I know
My
that's
daughter
right.
will my daughter will go out and she will have 2 mixed match socks, one leg up, one leg down, and just looking like a bum.
Don't
She does
care.
not care.
That's right.
and he will never do that. Everything
No.
have to be together.
Okay.
Yeah, no matter how many times I ask her, like, can you?
She
I'm
won't do it.
fine. No, she's fine.
And how old is she?
She is 18.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. They tend to the younger generation, they do seem to have more of a I don't care what anybody say or think type disposition about them. In your experience, um, do you think it is harder for men to get burnt out than women?
No,
No.
no, absolutely not. That's just what I tend to focus on, because if we go with the traditional household and traditional males and what you're supposed to do, and many of them having multiple households because they may have multiple children. You think about that.
Exactly.
That's a lot of pressure to be able to be there for all of those people. And one of the phenomenons, and I might make a viewer mad about this right now, so I'm gonna adjust my seat so I can say it.
Uh-oh. Come on. I'm gonna get closer. Come on.
I'm gonna step on some toes right now.
Come on,
So,
let's step on them.
so one of the phenomenons that I saw when I was, like I said, I'm retired military, but I also worked with active duty military. And
Mhm.
one of the things that I would see is that these young men come into the military with the pressure of providing for their whole families.
Yes.
That they are living in poverty because they are sending everything to their families.
Yes.
And not only that, and it's difficult to get ahead because mom and them have put bills in their name that they didn't pay, so they can't even extend the credit. So just those tend to be long-term family generational curses where they have the pressure of, they keep trying to get promoted and excel and perform well and people please so that somebody, they can get more money because they can't make it. And every time they get ahead, somebody else has their hand out. And then especially when you think about the pressures that are going on in corporate America, working at Amazon. I've worked with so many men who have done Amazon, FedEx delivery drivers, and just talking about the stress of having to do that every day, come home, sleep for 4 hours, and go right back and do it again. So no, I don't think that they experience it less. I just don't focus on it as much.
And I'm glad you said that because my question was going to be who's susceptible. But as I hear you speaking, anyone can be a person who can experience burnout.
Yes.
And so it's just whenever you don't allow yourself to have that balance, to be able to see yourself first, you can actually wind up being in a burnout position. So when I thought about that, I said, wow, how do we even begin to cure, or can burnout even be cured or fixed, or what would that look like if we're trying to fix ourselves from burnout?
Right.
Yeah,
So that, go ahead, Miss Passion.
No, I said that's a good question.
Right. And so there are different answers for so many people. For some people, the first thing is like, oh, you need to do some therapy. And therapy sometimes it can be helpful. For some people, it's not helpful because this is a new world invention, right? So people have been curing themselves with things long before talk therapy has come. But I love it because I am a therapist.
Yes.
So one of the things that I take my clients through is I take them through a 9-step system to begin to cure their burnout. I have them, the first thing we do is consider. And so that essentially is an assessment of where's the dysfunction and how does it show up in holistically in your life. And are their actions congruent with their stated values? The next thing we look at is communication. Are there breaks down in communication? Are they a passive communicator, passive aggressive, assertive, and do their words match their actions? Then we look at conserve. It's the third C. Where can they conserve their energy? Because so many people are like, but I got to, I should, I need to do that. But there are a lot of options. There are a lot of things that we can remove or take off our plate or delegate or decide we no longer need to do this. People most of the time are engaging in a lot of foolishness. Then we identify connect.
Yes.
What are those connections that we aren't engaging in that used to bring us so much joy, whether it's old friends, whether it's volunteering, whether it's people in your family that you see every day but aren't even talking to? Where do you need to develop those connections? Collaborate. Are there things that you can do in a collaborative way to decrease some of that burnout, decrease some of that stress so that you aren't responsible for everything? And create. What is your creative side? So many people have gotten so used to just working and grinding, and they aren't feeding that creative part. For some people, that's spirituality. For some people, it's arts, crafts, dancing, all of those different things beginning to bring some joy into our life. And then lastly, I look at where can they contribute. So for some people, that's a volunteer organization. For some people, that means, okay, I know my sister's working long hours. Let me pour into my nephew. Let me create a scholarship fund for my family. And so we use all of that. For some people, it's focusing on one place or the other. For some, we go through all of it, but we look at ways to heal. And it's what's interesting to realize is if you let yourself get to the place of burnout, it can take 3 to 5 years to recover.
Ooh,
Yeah. Wow.
So it's not like, so when you're stressed, you don't typically need 3 to 5 years. You know, you can do some deep meditation, have yourself put your feet up, have yourself a nice cool drink, and you can deep breathe your way out of that.
Inhale, exhale.
Inhale, exhale, woosah, and it's done. But for burnout, remember all that toll I told you it takes on your body?
Mm-hmm.
All of those systems need to recover. All of that mindset needs to change so that you don't walk right back into the same situation.
Okay. So let me make sure I got this, because I'm taking notes. So we got consider, we have communication, we have conserve, we have connect, we have collaborate, we have create, we have contribute, and
that's it.
So I wrote.
That's my cure your burnout system.
Yeah, that's how we do it. I'm over here taking
cure the burnout.
Let me ask this question: what about children? Like, let's just say elementary school, maybe 5th grade on up. How do you as a parent, right? If I see that my child may be starting to lack in school, grades falling behind, she's losing interest in things that she normally does, how do I know if that's burnout or depression or stress or whatever? How do you know if a child is suffering from burnout? And if so, what does that look like? And how do you help them?
Okay. Well, that's a really good question. Now, I don't tend to help people with children, but how can the parent help their child? And one of the things for me in counseling, or whether it's coaching, is I'm not as much as interested in the label as I am looking at the system and what's going on, where the dysfunction is happening. And the first thing to do is begin to assess, what is making my child not want to be engaged anymore? Why are they feeling disruptive? I had a young mother, and it just blew my mind when she told me that she wrote the school system and wrote the district that they would no longer be participating in homework. That
what?
and she made it happen. She just said, look, they spend X amount of time at school. If it cannot be done there, we are not going to do it. This is family time. This is time to eat, to nourish ourselves, to de-stress from the day. I'm not going to have my children doing 3 or 4 hours of homework every night. And I was like, why didn't I think about this?
Okay.
And she really advocated for them because she saw how much it was draining them.
It was draining them.
Now that was a powerful mother.
That was, because I wouldn't have even thought, I would have thought, okay, the system is the system and everybody got to do homework. And she's she's like, not my babies. We're not doing this.
We're not doing that. We were in school 8 hours, 9 hours. And wait, I do know she was advocating for her children, but she was also advocating for herself. So that was some burnout boundaries for herself, because she got up for work, she had to come home and help them do that homework for 3-4 hours.
That you have to watch Khan's Academy first to understand what they're doing, because what you learn no longer applies. So absolutely. So identifying sports, that is, they have turned children's sports into NFL.
Come on now.
I mean, so many hours, so much emotional investment in this. It's crazy. You need to practice 5 days a week for a free Pee-wee league. Come on now.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. And they put a lot of stress on them too, with these little, especially the Little League, the what they call Pop Warner, whatever is that?
And AAU.
Yes, them. Oh,
the gas and all of that. So finding out, you know, if you can begin to discover what's going on, what's making them upset, or at least being least interested, seeing how you can help them to navigate that, and ask them, what is it that you need? How can I support you? And then that really advocates to allow them to trust their instincts about what's going on, instead of us just saying, we're gonna take you, I'm taking you out of like my daughter used to do gymnastics, and that is a commitment. I remember that. That is a real commitment. And so I would frequently ask her, not only because it was $350 out of my pocket all the time every month, but and this was 14 hours a week, right? And I was like, "Are you sure? Is this what you want to do?" Because I saw her being tired and I saw her doing her work, and she would wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning to do her schoolwork. And she's like, "No, I love it. I love doing it." So this was something for her. But I was concerned that she was getting burned out. She was like, "No, you can't. I love this."
Okay.
So trusting their own instincts about where they're at. And sometimes some of that help might mean a therapist or some additional supports at school or some additional time with people in the family that they haven't seen in a while.
Okay.
That's
So
good.
can you tell us about your retreat that you do?
Oh, yes, the Get Fired Up Woman Retreat. So this is
Yeah.
going to be starting next year. We are trying to nail down the date. So it's somewhere between July to August, trying to get it. What is that right time frame when people don't have children in school and they can actually travel? But we definitely don't want to get in the way of Essence Festival.
Okay. I want to go to that this year. So, okay.
That is my plan as well. So definitely want to compete with that. So this is going to be the first one, and we're really looking forward to. We're thinking about either Cafe Alam, Chateau Alam, that's in Georgia, or either the Oconee Resort, and we want to have transformations there. We're looking at about 4 days. We're going to do a lot of journaling. We're going to do a lot of motivational speaking. We're going to do some body work, probably some sound therapy, some art therapy, and a lot of different activities. So I'm glad you asked me about it, but it's just beginning to form. So I'm just making my baby. I'm going to be proud of. It's going to be a pretty baby, even if she's ugly.
Well, just keep us in the loop because I'm always down for a good retreat.
Absolutely.
Yeah, always. Yes. What type of support services do you have for your clients?
Such as so we have group coaching and individual coaching, as well as VIP days. Because for some people are so driven and so motivated that they just need 3 or 4 hours dedicated on helping them to figure out the plan to get where they want to go, and then they just take it and run with it. They don't need additional support. So I've been doing that a lot lately.
Okay, so if people sometimes people just don't make the change on their own, no matter how they may try or whatever. So what would you say is a reason that they would need an executive coach?
Well, if you're still doing the same thing after a number of years and you keep complaining about it, it might be time to get some support around that. I have one client I know who is also a friend, and it's been 7 years she's been saying the same thing. So once we got together, we moved her along in the past, so she needed that. As well as if you're feeling bogged down, you're feeling like you don't have a sense of freedom, if you just feel stuck, like that is the biggest thing. If you have all of these things that you want to do, you want to accomplish, or if you just want to be able to enjoy your family and not watch your spouse, your partner, and your children grow away from you, then maybe it's time to get some support around that. Because things don't change just because you wish it to change. You have to take decisive action to make any change.
Correct. And sometimes that's just a hard step for people to make. So I'm glad you even said how sometimes you don't even realize you need a coach. You're just stuck. Keep saying I'm supposed to, and I know, but I'm moving now. So don't blast me, because you say, "Oh, I need to do this. I need to do this." Year 1, year 2, year 3, and the list goes on for how many years it takes. So sometimes we just need to push, and I'm glad you said that for people to understand that you don't have to be in a place of distress. You may even just need a push or somebody to pull you up to help you get your life back on track.
Right.
So I'm just excited about all the information we have learned today.
Right.
Yes.
And I wanted to say one more thing, if I could. I think it's really difficult for people to ask for help when they don't even know what help they need. They don't even know. So many people pleasers and people with imposter syndrome, if you ask them what they need and what they want, they probably draw a blank because they don't think about themselves. They don't even know to think about themselves. They can't conceive of it differently. So just being able to get exposed to a different reality and have somebody ask you those pointed questions where you are thinking about you will create a different result for you. And this isn't about like, how can I become an island and just be selfish and say, screw everybody else? I'm not serving, I'm not supporting, I'm not doing anything. It's about creating the best reality for yourself so that you can serve more.
Amen. Amen.
Well, that's so good. I just think sometimes we, especially people who are goal oriented, we just don't even understand. So this was so helpful. We don't understand to what extent that we really try to do so much, have so much on our plate or on our table, and how we also just need to know that we're on the verge of burnout before we get there. I think this was so helpful because, like you said, you saw yourself in a state of burnout. And I recognized that I too had a state of burnout. And like you said, I had to, call someone to help me. Sometimes, even as a counselor, a therapist, a coach, you need to have a good resource so that you can have someone who can pull you out and someone who can help you as well.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Oh, yes. Okay. So we have a special musical guest tonight. His name is Phil, and he's going to be doing a combination of a rap song that he wrote for Domestic Violence Month.
Yes.
So we would like to introduce all our listeners and viewers to Phil.
There we go. Hello. How y'all doing?
Good. We're excited. Come on now, let it rip.
All right. Can y'all hear me real good through the mic? You hear me?
Yes, it's a little echo. You might want to go back a little bit.
I tell you what, I just got the whole microphone on. All right. Yeah. Looking for the love and the happiness, sitting the trunk in the cabinets. So hard to be happy in the world full of savages, heart full of bandages, so many mishandled it. Instead they hurt and focus, you ain't here from the damages. Your mama didn't love you, or your daddy didn't hug you, or the one that you married didn't do nothing for you. Thinking they don't understand, they just don't know about the struggle. Well, you ain't the only one, so let me go pop your bubble. It's a lot of people searching for the one that will complete them, but ended up being with the one that always beat them. They say they like them dark or the color of a weekend. They say they like them dread hairs or ways to make them seasick. How them stereotypes can ruin your life. It ain't always what you need when you get what you like. So be careful what you ask for. Every gift ain't blessed. You might not learn today, but you gon' get it by the night. See, it's the simple things in life you forget when you hurt. You keep on wishing for the best, but your wishes never work. And you wonder why you're saying that you turned into a savage. That's because you never had the real love and happiness. Love and happiness. Yeah, see, I'm a different breed. It ain't nobody like me. If I'm professing my love, then you ought to take heed. Cause I don't do this much unless I really do meaning. I would think that it's your best bet to go and receive it. I admit I can be difficult, at least I ain't easy, but I'ma be alright if you still wanna leave me. My happiness ain't based on the terms and conditions. Yeah, you say you understand, but you still don't be reading. Falling head over heels like I'm tripping up a mountain. Water problems keep coming like water from a fountain, going back and forth like some windshield wipers instead of throwing blows like some UFC fighters. I got goals, not gold, find Midas. You say you fed up, now you're waiting on the itis. You say you're burned out, now you're waiting on the fire. Girl, you need to take it up. Go ahead and find the pliers. It's a simple things in life you forget when you hurt. You keep on wishing for the best, but your wishes never work. And you wonder why you're saying that you turned into a savage. That's because you never had the real love and happiness. Love and happiness. Oh Lord. Appreciate y'all time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. That was nice. Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Exactly. Anything else you need from me today?
Well, I just want to thank you for blessing us tonight with your song. Did you write that?
Yes. I wrote it back, I say about 2016, 17. Yeah, I was going through a lot in my marriage, and I saw a lot of stuff going on with my ex-wife, so I had to write about it.
Thank you for sharing that. I didn't realize that was so personal.
Yeah, most of my songs are. It just, I like to write when I feel like it, because I know if I'm going through something, more like somebody else somewhere else going through something. So whether you relay it in a sermon, a song, or a poem, or any kind of art, yeah, like I said, I know how it feels to be looking for love in all the wrong places.
Okay, so we have a question from a listener. They wanted to know, did you go through that pain? They said they could feel it through your music.
Yeah. So I got officially divorced in 2020.
Okay.
I was married for 5 years. Well, 6 years, 5 on paper, 1 separated. And she didn't know how to really receive love. Like, she didn't know how to really take love. So a lot of our arguments came from, I'm trying to relate to her, let me love you, but you don't understand how to love, or you don't understand what real love and, like, the real love and happiness, which is the love of God. So you don't understand, like, why I love you so much as my wife, versus me just loving you, because some people do stuff out of self-preservation. Some men, they take care of their families out of self-preservation. Okay, I'm gonna pay the bill so I can have somewhere to stay. Y'all just happen to be here at the same time. I'm gonna do this because of, I'm saying, I put food on the table because I like to eat. Y'all just happen to be here at the same time. No, but it takes a different type of person to do stuff from the heart. That no matter if I don't have nowhere to stay, y'all gonna have somewhere to stay. If I don't have nothing to eat, y'all gonna have something to eat. And that, like, my ex-wife, she didn't know how to really understand or really receive it. So
right. Did you feel what our listeners want to know, did you feel abused through your marriage?
Mentally, yes. Mentally, and because it's like, okay, so when I met her, I was preaching, I was on fire for God. everything. I was like, what, 22 when I got married. I was whole preaching, almost about to become a pastor then. And to deal with her, I had to revert back to who I was before because she was so dominant. She was so tough. And we literally got into an argument about control in a marriage. And I'm like, why am I fighting for control of my marriage? She's like, if you want control, you're going to have to take it from me. And I almost started crying. I'm like, why do I have to take control from you? Because it's not about control. I'm all about teamwork. I'm trying to work together. And you worry about who got control. Like, it's not about a power. I'm not going to go through a power struggle with my wife. So at that particular time, I took down, which was a mistake because by the time I decided to put my foot down again, it was a little too late. And that's why, like, I'm starting on a book now called "She Married a Boy," because that's exactly what she married. She married a boy. I was 22 years old. I went from my mom's house to her grandma's house. That's where we stayed at when we first got married. So now I know better.
Okay.
Yeah, I could talk about that all day. So.
Okay. Are you okay? Do you need help with coping? How are you coping now?
Now mainly through music and just trying to stay. Honestly, I ain't gonna lie to you. So they say a lot of women go through the healing process while they're still, or when they on the way out the door, and men go through the healing process after the fact. Because at first I was like, yeah, I'm glad she gone. All that 5 years of misery gone. But now that I sit back and I realize, one, I miss being a husband. Two, I miss being a father to the kids that I was a father to at that point, and which was two of those for my boys. In retrospect, I'm thinking about all the stuff I could have did better, no matter if she had her own issues that I couldn't change, no matter what. But as far as me being better for the next one, because I'm not one of them bitter dudes. I'm never getting married again. Oh yes, I'm getting married again, and my wife is not gonna have to deal with the boy that my ex-wife had to deal with. So now I'm just coping through getting all the help I can get, changing the stuff that's wrong with me for real, that I can change, and let God do the rest. But other than that, just expressing myself in music and ministry. So.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Thank you very much for sharing. Abel, you got something?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I always got something, and salute to you, bro, for real. You know what I mean? I really appreciate the song. It was pretty dope. I'm a music producer and a lyricist myself, so I was listening to your lyrics, and very powerful, very impactful, very direct, very organized song, and it's definitely a strong message for men and women. And you know, and I empathize with what you had to go through, because as men we usually don't get the space to be able to share that and keep it real. And like when you said you had to step down, and you were like, you know, it's a power struggle, and in most relationships suffer from power struggles. And being that you were trying to build yourself up in the kingdom and in the word of God, and you know, allow that to prevail after everything was all said and done. So I just take my hat up to you, and kudos to you. Just keep up the great work, bro, for real.
Appreciate it. My Lord be to God.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, we're gonna pass some information on to you, Abel. If you could pass him the information for the good fight, he may be able to get help that he needs, knowing that he's not alone and that there are other people that are going through similar things, and he can share his story and his experience with them, and they can share their stories and experiences with him. Is that okay? There There you go.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And that's the key. I think, for me, I've been into some crazy relationships, married twice, divorced twice. Um, and like you said, I will get married again, but I'm not in no rush to do it just to be with
Exactly.
somebody, and you know what I mean, to be under the quote unquote word in love, because most people aren't loving themselves properly, and we're expecting them to love us properly, but they don't love themselves enough to even be able to give the love that we require as men or women. So it's really about the love that God gives you to be able to empower yourself, continue to surround yourself with like-minded people that support your vision, support your dream, and empower your goals in ministry and out of ministry. Because when you out of the pulpit, it's still you still have to maintain a life, and everybody's not going to be able to register to the Christian walk or any faith for that matter if they never had
Right.
one themselves. That takes a lot of dexterity, and it takes a lot of um, focus and diligence to be able to stay steadfast in the word, let alone walk it out. Because this walk ain't easy, you know what I mean? It ain't easy for none of us. And the more you walk it, the harder it gets. But the more God gives you the ability to empower individuals through platforms like this and get your message and your love out to those that can actually hear it and receive it.
Yes. So you have other music? Would you be willing to come back on another show and perform for us again? Something else?
Sure, no problem. Uh, Chantel knows I battle rap too, and
Yeah,
I
I know.
just want to tell you that I won my other battle today.
Well,
So
congratulations.
In
I'll be
Louisiana, he just went to New Orleans.
Right.
Oh,
no. I had one today.
congratulations.
I
Oh,
had
you
one
had
today
one
on
today too?
yeah
Ah,
on the Christian Battle Rap League, and
Oh,
I went. It was a tournament, and so I'm in the finals.
yeah.
Uh,
Nice.
so I got to
Nice,
go.
bro. Nice, nice,
I got to go
nice.
to
That's a
Connecticut
good look
on
right
the
there.
fifth.
Yeah.
I got to go to Connecticut on the fifth and battle a guy and the winner gets $1,000.
All right.
Get
Okay.
that money, bro.
That's
Get that
right.
money.
that's good.
Easy
That's
You know
money.
good.
what I mean?
Oh,
So I wanna
congratulations.
yeah, everybody, yeah, they're telling you congratulations.
Thank
Okay, I
you.
want to apologize, everyone. I know you all noticed that Dr. Burnout left, but as she was saying all her accolades, she's always doing multiple shows and speaking engagements in in a night. So she had to leave. We ran over a little bit. But we don't want to be remiss in not saying how
Actually, look what we have here.
oh okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Dr. Burnout. Yes.
Okay, she came back to us.
That's right. That's right.
I feel like
Yes.
I was Harriet Tubman.
Okay. Okay. She came.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for giving us a few more minutes. We know you
Yes.
have a
Thank
very
you.
busy schedule. So we're going to close up real quick, but we wanted to make sure we told you how much we appreciated you. And thank you for coming. And Nisi's Passion is going to tell you, say some more things and talk about the show and all of that. And we just want to do it right. We didn't want you to end like that.
Right. We want to let you know just how thankful we are and grateful and honored that you blessed us with your presence and your knowledge. And I have learned so much, and I'm quite sure our listeners and our viewers have learned.
Yeah, so have I.
Um, yes, have learned some things as it relates to burnout. You told us how we can cope, things that we can do to cope, and I'll reiterate it again. I'm not going to read it all. You have to, first, the steps are consider, communication, conserve, connect, collaborate, create, and contribute. And remember, um, if you catch it in time, you'll be okay, because once you're completely burned out, then it could take 3 to 5 years to recover from burnout. And we don't want anybody to have to go that long with
Yeah.
trying to get back to where they need to be. You can reach Dr. Burnout. I can't see her information because I'm blind in one eye and can't see out the other. So I don't have her information, but I think it's Dr. Burnout at, I can't read
say
it.
Dr. Burnout, tell us.
Tell everybody how they can reach you.
Okay, absolutely. So you can reach me on this link right here, the Linktree / Dr. Burnout, or you can go to my website, which is drkimberlywilson.com. You can also, if you see that book right there, Unlocking Me, it is a journal that you can get on Amazon to help you detangle some of those family, relationship, a lot of different issues. So look forward to connecting with all of you. And thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate you. Abel, Phil the Prophet, Chantel, and Passion.
Yes. Oh, and let's not forget your upcoming retreat, because I'm going to be there. I'm gonna be there. I'm
Yes, summer of 2023.
There it is.
Women's retreat.
That's right. We're gonna get fired up. Let's go get fired. What was that fight song? Wasn't it a fight song that used to go like that? Let's go get fired up or something like that. Come on, y'all, don't make me do this by myself.
We don't know it.
Now, I was just asking people if they remember. Let me see if y'all remember. There was a song way back when. I'm gonna really date myself. It was called Peanut Butter and Jelly.
Yes, I remember Peanut Butter and Jelly.
Stepped up in the kitchen, ain't got nothing to eat. Nobody remembers that.
No,
I heard it. I remember that, but I don't know how to sing
the chorus? What's the chorus?
Peanut butter and jelly something. I'll find it. I'm gonna send you a text so y'all know it, because it is the weirdest song. But yeah.
Dr. Burnout, executive coach, motivational speaker, licensed marriage and family therapist. Thank you. We love you. And we hope that you'll come back again and do another show with us.
In Jesus' name. Thank you so much.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Hey, would you want to take us out? Or
do you want to direct this to go out and say later to the people or anything like that?
Oh, good night.
Phil is doing us a little light show and stuff. Phil, some more comments are coming in about congratulations, good luck, and all of that, so that you know.
Appreciate everybody.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. And Phil, thank you too. Thank you so much for blessing us. Thank you.
You're welcome. Quite welcome.
All right, come on. How we gonna party on up out of here tonight?
Yeah.
Let's make this a night to remember.
Get ready.
Yeah. Come on, Kim.
Tonight.
Darling. Come on.
We off beat.
I know.
Did you take us on out, April?